by Wole Soyinka. After that, we're supposed to move on. After that, we're supposed to move on to Look Back in Anger, which is a non-African drama written by John Osborne. Okay, Look Back in Anger, written by John Osborne. Now, I would like us to finalize what we have for The Lion and the Jewel, first of all, before we go to any other one. So The Lion and the Jewel is a play by Wole Soyinka. We've treated this before, but I just want us to look at it in a holistic manner going forward. And we're going to be looking at the version 2003 for literature. So these are the characters that we have here. Lakunle Uche, Sidi. Sidi is the village belle of Ilujinle. Then we also have first girl, second girl, third girl. Then we'll have the crowd. Then number 7, we have Baroka. Baroka is the ballet of Ilujinle. Then Sadiku. Sadiku is Baroka's favorite wife. Then we also have another wife of Baroka tagged as favorite. That's Baroka's favorite wife, favorite. Then we have a wrestler. We have schoolboys, surveyor, prisoners, attendants, and the traders, and the rest of them. So the authorial background, of course, Wole Soyinka's full name is Akinwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka. He was born on July 13, 1934 into a Yoruba family in Abeokuta. Basically, we have here now in literature, not in all cases though, but please take note that in some cases, the author's background sometimes can be found in the content of his or her work. Okay, so how the author sees life in general, the author's point of view in life in general, based on the author's background, where the person grew up from, where the person is from. Obviously, if I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Bayelsa State, I grew up in Port Harcourt, let's assume I grew up in Lagos. I went to my secondary school, university, everything in Lagos. So now how I'm going to see life, or how I'm going to see most of the things even in Nigeria, that particular geographical location or a play, the sea life is going to be found. Hello, did you get that? Okay, the way I see life, maybe while growing up, the language my parents used to use while taking care of me, a lot of things can be found in the author's works based on their background. Okay, so knowing or having a knowledge about an author's background gives you a better understanding too of the author's work. Now, the plot summary / textual background. The play, The Lion and the Jewel, consists of 3 acts. So you have the morning, noon, and night. So it's divided into 3: morning, noon, and night. The play begins as Sidi, the village belle of Ilujinle, enters the square with a pail of water balanced on her head. Lakunle, the Western educated school teacher, sees her, runs from his classroom. Okay, I might not read everything here because it's a bit long here. So here is a summary of act by act. Things were happening in the morning, and then things at the event that took place at okay, so we'll have the themes. There's a major part I want to look at here, which is the characterization. Very important, okay? All right, so character / characterization. So the first character we have here is Baruka. So Baruka is the Baale of Ilujinle, a village in the southwestern part of Nigeria. He is 62 years. He is a 62 what we're talking about. So we're looking at The Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka. Now, in this play here, this is a play, of course. Now, in this play here, we have, these are the characters here. We have Lakunle, CD, we have the first girl, second girl, as well as other characters here. So these are the characters, okay, that participated in the play The Lion and the Jewel here. Next part we have here is the authorial background. That's the author's background, okay? When the author was born, where he grew up from, his education, basically all about the author. So the authorial background here. So it said that Wole Soyinka's full name is Akinwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka. Now we have, he was born on July 13th, 1934 into a Yoruba family in Abeokuta. Now, if you take note also, you would notice that this particular play, The Lion and the Jewel, is set in a Yoruba community called Ilujinle. Now, I've mentioned before that an author's background, okay, also plays a role in terms of the content of a particular literary work, whether in poetry, in narrative, which is prose, or in drama. So the author's background actually plays a role. Not in all cases, though. There are some authors who go deeply on into imaginary storylines. But if you check closely too, the author's background, in one way or the other, will play a role in how the author sees life in general. So now here we're looking at the plot summary and the textual background. So basically, I'm going to summarize the whole of everything that we have here. It is very long and we have a very limited time. So please pay close attention. So these are the characters here. We have the major characters. The major one, the first person, will have CD. Okay, so the play The Lion and the Jewel consists of 3 acts. We'll have Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. So we'll have in the morning, the noon, afternoon, and in the night. So the play begins as CD, the village belle of Ilujinle. Belle here means beauty, a very beautiful girl. She was admired by everyone. So she's a village beauty. As far as that community is concerned, Ilujinle, CD was a village belle. Now, it begins when she was coming back from, I think, fetching water. Okay, so she had a pail of water on her head. Now, in that process, she meets Lakunle. Now, Lakunle, remember, here, we have it here. Lakunle is a village school teacher. Okay, Lakunle is a village school teacher. She meets him, and there they have a very long conversation. Apparently, Lakunle is wooing CD. Okay, he is one of her suitors. He wants to marry CD. Now, the only problem is that both of them have 2 different perspectives when it comes to entering marriage. Of course, in Africa, CD, as well as most of us, we believe that a man should pay a woman's bride price, before he takes her to his house as his wife, which CD holds strongly. But Lakunle believes that in the Western world, white people don't pay bride price. So all they do is to go to church. The woman wears a white wedding gown. The man wears his suit. A priest joins the both of them together. If possible, they go to court and then they're married. There's no bride price. So Lakunle believes that paying a bride price is a barbaric and ancient tradition. And he just wants to wed CD. So in that process of, telling her about her beauty, in that process of wooing her and all of that, somebody actually walks in. So here you have the three girls. You have first girl, second girl, third girl. Now, in that process of them having that conversation, which is CD and Lakunle, the first girl and the rest of them, they come in and then they inform CD that her picture, the magazine is out. So apparently there had been a foreigner who visited Ilujinle. Okay, he visited number 12, a surveyor. Okay, so he visited. Now, I think his vehicle broke down, and that process, he was taking pictures. So he had a camera and he was taking pictures of different scenes, and sites of Ilujinle community. Now, he took pictures of CD, Baroka, a lot of people and sites and places in Ilujinle. So in that process of CD and Lakunle having that conversation, the 3 girls enter and others to inform her that the foreigner is back. So apparently he's back with the magazine, and her face is there. And in fact, she is the celebrity of that particular magazine, that her face is, and she looked so beautiful. And, telling her all of that, it's got into her head. So her head started swelling, and she even got to find out that her picture is even better than that of Baroka. Baroka, who is the Baale of Ilujinle, that's the head, the ruler of Ilujinle. So she got to find out that her picture is even better, and she was now feeling so, she was proud, she wanted to prove so far that she was better than even the Baale of Ilujinle. Now, while they were there talking about it, there was a dance, a dance was made there. The first girl, second girl, CD, Lakunle. Now, in that process, Baroka walks in. And when he walks in, everything stops. Anyway, I think he tried to find out why they stopped the whole thing. And then there was a conversation between Baroka and CD there. Now, he tells her, are you there, please? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I
Hello.
hear you.
Okay, thank you. So Baroka walks in. Now, just like Lakunle is a suitor of Sidi, Baroka is also, now he walks in, and at the end of that scene, that act there, he made a statement that he would like, that it's been long he took in a wife, something like that. It's been long he took in a wife. Now, at that point, he informs the readers, that he would like to take CD as his new wife. Okay, he would like to take CD as his new wife. And I think the second act there, which is the afternoon, was where his first wife, the first wife here, look at it, Sadiku, that's Baroka's favorite wife, right? And the eldest wife there, he through Sadiku, he wanted to make sure that Sidi becomes his wife. So he lies to Sadiku by telling her that he is impotent, and that he should go and invite Sidi to his palace for supper. So Sadiku goes on the errand and tries to convince Sidi that Baroka, that she should go to the palace for supper. Of course, Sidi is a smart girl. She knows that any young girl who goes to the palace automatically becomes the Baroka's new wife somehow. And so, although at first she was reluctant, finally she agreed, and then she went to Baroka's palace for the supper. Now, at that point now, we got to know that Baroka actually lied to Sadiku. All he wanted to do, he lied about him being impotent. All he wanted to do was to somehow get the pity of Sidi. I don't know his intention anyway, but he just wanted to get Sidi's attention and get her to the palace. Now, Sidi going to the palace, he eventually raped her. He raped Sidi in the palace there. Now, after Sidi comes back, she informs Lakunle that she was raped by Baroka. Now, despite hearing that awful news, he was still willing. He was still willing to marry Sidi. Okay, hearing that the person you want to marry was raped by, of course, a beast, as far as I'm concerned, an old man. So, but he was still willing to marry Sidi or thereabouts. Now, at the end, one thing we should get here straight is, at the end, Sidi still makes up her mind. She decides to still marry Baroka. Now, so there are other themes here. So, okay, we'll have the summary of the acts here: morning, we'll have noon, and then we'll also have night here. So there are only 3 acts here: morning, afternoon, and night here. So the themes here: bride price. I mentioned that before. There's a theme of bride price. Bride price is something held as an important part of marriage among the Yoruba-speaking people, not just Yoruba-speaking, the Africans, especially Nigerians. Now, Lakunle, the young African man who has been schooled in Western culture, considers the traditional customs in his village as barbaric and savage. You can imagine, he sees the paying of bride price as barbaric and savage. Then we also have the theme of polygamy. Polygamy is one of the major themes of the play. Polygamy was common among African men even through even though it is not supported by Christianity. From the conversation between Sadiku and Lakunle, as well as the statements from Baruka, it is seen that Baruka practices polygamy. He has a lot of wives. Despite that, he's still not satisfied. He wants more wives. Okay, so we have modernity versus tradition. So modernity here, of course, we have Lakunle representing the Western and modern culture, and then tradition is Sidi. There was even a part in the play where Lakunle offered to carry her pail of water, but she refused. She feels like if people sees both of them working together and he is the one carrying the load, he is the man. Please take note, he's a man. And if people see her carrying the load, they will feel like they will mock her or something. I don't know. So to me, apart from all these themes we have here, to me, there's also the theme of female objectification. The African society has made it look like women, are supposed to bear children, do all the work, while all the men have to do is just to be getting new wives every day. And okay, let's not go into that. So it doesn't look like it's personal. Anyway, so there's modernity versus tradition. So the modern culture only represents modernity, and then traditional culture, CD, represents that. So corruption, of course, bribery. When Baruka learns of the Ministry of Public Work has sent a surveyor to establish whether a railroad can pass through Ilujinle, he bribes the surveyor. That's Baruka and surveyor, cooked up a story to be delivered by the surveyor to his superiors that the land is not fit for a railway line to pass through. In this play, Baruka and the surveyor symbolize corruption that is rife in many African countries, and this has contributed to bad leadership and underdevelopment in most African countries. There are many cases of corruption being witnessed in Nigeria. Now, the truth is, as far as the word corruption is concerned in Nigeria, even the little child, the smallest baby that is born today, I'm sure must have experienced corruption in one way or the other. Let's hope, we're hoping that things get better. Anyway, so there's the theme of corruption, that's bribery. Now, we also have beauty, the theme of beauty. The playwright has portrayed how beauty can threaten the status of an authoritative figure. Sidi's beauty has spread beyond the village. This is made possible by the Lagos man who captured Sidi's beauty in different poses. Her images are published in a magazine, fulfilling the stranger's promise to Sidi that the magazine will announce her beauty to the world. Baruka, jealous of Sidi's rising influence, plans how he will silence her by deflowering her. In another scenario, Lakunle dashes out of the class when he notices Sidi through the classroom's window carrying a bucket of water. Two of his pupils, aged 11, making a buzzing noise at Sidi, clapping their hands and crossing the mouth. So all of these gestures from different people show how beauty can actually threaten the status of an authoritative figure here. So there's a theme of beauty in this play here. So apparently Sidi is so beautiful that she was turning heads. All the men were turning their heads. So irresponsibility. Lakunle is an irresponsible teacher. He dashes out of the class to meet Sidi. You can imagine. Anyway, it can't happen in real life right now. So imagine you being a teacher, because you see a woman passing by, you dash out of the class just to look at her. So that's purely irresponsible of the teacher. He dashes out of the class to meet Sidi, who is carrying a pail of water on her head. He leaves the pupils reciting the arithmetic times written on the blackboard. Instead of finding an opportune time to meet Sidi, he takes the advantage he has at the moment to meet her and strike a conversation, all because of her beauty. So there's a theme of illiteracy. Sadiku represents the many villagers who are illiterate. They can't read or write. Sadiku's illiteracy is manifested when Lakunle rebukes her when she supports Sidi's idea of going to Baruka's palace. When she came to tell Sidi about her going to the palace to have supper, of course, Sidi was reluctant, but eventually she goes there. But Lakunle was totally against the idea of Sidi going to the palace in the first place. Okay, Sidi's idea of going to the palace to mock his sterility. Imagine her, after hearing that Baruka is impotent, so she wanted to go to the palace at first she didn't want to go, just to go and have supper, because she knew the kind of person he was. But hearing that he was impotent, so in her head, she wanted to go and mock his sterility there. That's really... So he tells her, this is my plan. You withered face. So this is my plan. You withered face, and I shall start by teaching you. From now, you shall attend my school and take your place with 12-year-olds. Of course, showing that she couldn't read and write. So we have love and marriage. The play deals with issue of love and marriage from the African perspective. It is in contrast to the European and American ideas of marriage, and unlike the romantic and idealistic notion of love, free of any undue social interference. The idea of marriage in a traditional African society is based on a realistic and practical relationship between a man and a woman, guided by age-long customary practices, such as the payment of the bride price. As far as Nigeria is concerned, let me not say the whole of Africa, okay? So in Nigeria here in particular, we hold in high esteem the payment of bride price of a woman before taking her in as your wife, in marriage. So that we have cultural conflicts, traditional versus modernity. Lakunle wants to just marry her by going to church. She wears the wedding gown, just to wed her and then make her his wife. But she, on the other hand, wants the traditional custom to be fulfilled by paying her bride price. So these two here, there's a conflict between these two cultures, the traditional culture and then the modern culture here. So young versus old. Despite the fact that the man was old, 62 years, and then one other person is young, which is Lakunle. Now the conflict between the young youth age is embodied in Lakunle and Baroka. Okay, so Lakunle, the schoolmaster, nearly 23, while Baroka, the ballet of Ilujinle, is 62. So see the difference between the both of them. So there's another conflict between the young and old here. So we have impotence versus virility. The idea of impotence or virility is both physical and symbolic. At symbolic level, it refers to the relative power and the vigor of the two cultures in conflict. All right. And then as personified by Lakunle and Baroka, thus in the end, the African culture turns out to be more virile on the African soul than the impotent foreign culture. Despite his age and all of those, his polygamous nature and all, he still ended up marrying the village beauty. He won as far as that conflict is concerned. The Baroka still won in the end. Okay, let's look at the dramatic/literary devices here. The diction means choice of words, how a particular writer decides to express him or herself using words. So choice of words. Generally, the choice of words used by the playwright is easy and simple to understand, and that's true. However, it is only Lakunle, the school teacher, that uses jaw-breaking vocabulary, of course, big words. For instance, when condemning the act of paying the bride price, Lakunle says, a savage custom, barbaric, outdated, rejected, denounced, all of these big words. He was, of course, he's a school teacher, so he was the only one using all of these words here. To illustrate in the village through their bastardization of English, Baroka Ballet of Ilujinle says, Guru Morin, Guru Morin, Ging, good, meaning good morning, good morning. So instead of saying good morning, he was saying Guru Morin. So bastardization of English language can also be seen in the pronunciation of barbarians. Moreover, in the play, we have the combination of poetic and prosaic form. Okay, so that's for the choice of words here. Now, proverbs and wise sayings. So there are some proverbs used in the play. We have if the snail finds splinters in his shell, he changes house. Charity, they say, begins at home. That's a proverb. Until the fingernails have scratched the dust, no one can tell which insect released his bowels. Now, please take note. There's a difference between proverbs and idioms. I'm sure you already know that, please. Proverbs and idioms are different. So proverbs are short, wise sayings that are used to give advice. They are wise sayings that are used to give advice. So, and then on the other hand, Idioms are phrases or expressions that don't really mean exactly what they say. Okay, they have deep underlying meaning. For example, let the cat out of the bag. So let the cat out of the bag. Obviously, there is no cat anywhere. There's no bag anywhere. But what it simply means is that you should say the secret, tell the secret. That's what it means. So for idioms, you can't really understand the meaning based on the literal words that you have in the phrase or the expression. On the other hand, proverbs are you can actually understand the words in a proverb. Okay, so they are short, wise sayings that are used to give advice. For example, charity, they say, begins at home. We know what charity means, we know what begin means, and we know what home is. But for idiom, you can't really understand using the words. All right. For example, if you're going for a competition or an interview and they say break a leg, they say break a leg, they're not literally saying you should go and break somebody's leg. It simply means that you should, like, good luck. It's a way of telling you good luck, do very well, something like that. So, all right, so let's continue. We also have flashback. The device of flashback was used. Now, this is skillfully used by the playwright. The instances of flashback in the play are shown through mime. So, mime there, somebody talking to himself. Sorry, mime. And they will have, it is used to relive the experience of the lost traveler in the village. Through the use of flashback, audience/readers are able to see what the traveler experience. Sorry, mime is not mime is when you're making gestures, okay, without saying words. So at one point they were actually miming to create or to act out what really happened when the traveler came to Ilujinli. So number 4, mime. Okay, this is used by the playwright. It is scene where second girl mimics the action of a photographer. Okay, so is when you're having body gestures. You move your hand, move your body, just trying to pass a message, but without using words. So mime is used where the entry of the visitor is being highlighted. It also shows the visitor staying among the villagers. Okay, then we have songs and dances. Of course, in the play there was a part where they were dancing and singing. We also have rhetorical question. Rhetorical questions are used to spice up the dialogue in the play. Some instances of rhetorical question are listed below. Have you no shame? Said by Sidi to Lakunle when he tries to seize the pail on Sidi's head. So a rhetorical question is a question that does not need an answer. Okay, no answer for a rhetorical question. It's just a question asked in general. Now we have, do you wish to look squashed like my pupil's drawings? The final one we have, do you know what it is to be Bali's last wife? So all of these are rhetorical questions here. They don't actually require someone to come and sit down and start answering the questions there. So that now we have allusion here. So we have biblical allusion, then we have cultural allusion. So allusion is basically when there's a reference made. So when there's a reference made to either the Bible or something, an ancient, maybe a book or an ancient event, that's what we call allusion. So a prophet has no honor except in his own home. Of course, that was taken from the Bible, so it's biblical allusion. They also have my Ruth, my Rachel, Esther, Bathsheba, from Genesis to Revelations, and through the Christians' holy book. So all of these were referenced, were gotten from the Bible. So that's why we have biblical allusion. Then we have cultural allusion as well. Cultural allusion is made to Songo, the Yoruba god of thunder and lightning. It is also made to Ogun, the Yoruba god of iron, fire, hunting, and war. Ask Ogun to strike you dead. So that is a cultural allusion that it is actually making reference to a god. So we have unity of time. There's unity of time